Module Overview. This advanced module explores the dynamic interplay between the elements and principles of design as applied in real-world design environments. It investigates how these core components of visual communication do not exist in isolation, but function in a synergistic relationship, shaping the aesthetics, functionality, user experience, and conceptual integrity of all forms of visual design. This module marks a turning point from theoretical understanding to practical mastery, enabling you to strategically manipulate visual language to craft compelling and meaningful compositions across multiple disciplines: graphic design, interior design, architecture, fashion, product design, advertising, UI/UX, and more. 1. Review of the elements and principles of design. Before delving into their interplay, a brief yet detailed review helps recalibrate understanding. Elements of design. Line defines form, guides the eye, establishes boundaries. Shape. Geometric or organic figures used in composition. Form, three-dimensional quality, creates volume and depth. Color, evokes mood, highlights information, creates identity. Texture, tactile illusion that affects visual weight and realism. Space, the area around or between objects, manipulates perception. Value, lightness or darkness, affects contrast and emphasis. Principles of design, balance, visual stability, symmetrical, asymmetrical, radial, contrast, difference that creates focal points and interest. Emphasis, deliberate focus on certain elements. Movement, visual flow, guides the viewer's eye. Rhythm, repetition to create visual tempo or pattern. Unity, harmony among elements, sense of completeness. Proportion, scale, size relationships that affect realism and message. Variety, visual diversity, avoids monotony while maintaining unity. Second, conceptual interplay. Symbiosis of form and function design is a language of visual storytelling. Its effectiveness lies in how seamlessly the elements, visual vocabulary, and principles, grammar are combined. The interplay is not linear or prescriptive, but responsive and adaptive to context, audience, and purpose. Key interactions. Line and movement. Lines guide the eye and create rhythm. In UI/UX, directional lines lead users through the interface. Color and emphasis. Color draws attention to focal points, e.g., a red "Buy Now" button. Shape and balance. Geometric shapes offer stability, logos. Organic shapes introduce informality. Texture and contrast. Rough versus smooth textures establish tactile contrast in product packaging. Space and unity. Negative space prevents clutter and strengthens design unity. Value and depth. Light-dark transitions create three-dimensional illusion, used in chiaroscuro shading. Third, practical synthesis framework, ISEA method. To enable systematic synthesis, we introduce the IDEA method. I, intent. Define the design objective to inform, entertain, persuade, or evoke emotion. S, strategy. Choose the visual strategy. What balance type? What emotional palette? Where should the focal point lie? E, execution implement through chosen elements. Which lines lead the eye? Which textures add realism? What space creates emphasis? A, assessment. Critically evaluate. Does the composition achieve unity? Is contrast working? Does the viewer respond as intended? Fourth, real-world case studies. A, Apple product design unity through minimalism. Clean lines, monochrome palettes, balanced proportions. Emphasis through contrast. Glossy screen versus matte frame. Space as branding. Use of negative space in packaging. B, fashion design. Alexander McQueen. Texture and contrast. Juxtaposition of lace and leather. Movement. Flowing lines in garments evoke fluid motion. Rhythm and repetition. Patterns repeating with variation across collections. C. Architecture, Zaha Hadid. Form as movement. Dynamic curves lead the viewer's eye. Line and unity. Structural elements reinforce architectural language. Proportion. Monumental scale evokes awe and power. Fifth, critical design thinking. You are trained to justify visual decisions using principles, anticipate user interpretation of element interaction, balance creativity and functionality under constraints, budget, brand guidelines, cultural context, critique work using professional vocabulary. The asymmetrical balance enhances tension, while analogous colors unify the message. Sixth, designing across cultures and mediums. The interplay of design elements and principles shifts with cultural symbolism, e.g., white as purity versus mourning. Medium constraints, print versus web versus motion graphics. Technological tools, Figma, Photoshop, AutoCAD. This module trains designers to adapt interplay strategies to suit responsive web designs, augmented reality interfaces, sustainable packaging, experiential installations. Seventh, final application project. You complete a capstone project applying all principles. Brief, create a campaign visual, poster, ad, brand board, interface, etc. Requirement, explicit use and explanation of at least 5 elements and 5 principles. Deliverables, visuals, process documentation, and critical self-evaluation. Assessment will be based on conceptual clarity, strategic interplay of visual components, technical execution, presentation and critique articulation,